Hello, everyone. Good evening. I have, so to all of them who are already there, to the panelists as well, I have shared a link which is a test to whether you have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. So you may take that. So to all the early birds, you may take that test and fill in your email ID, and once you fill in the email id, you will get an email from the website whether and detailing what sort of a mindset you have. I think that will be really useful going into today's session. So please go ahead and take the test. I'm repasting the link for the test. And this be very very frank while answering the questions in the test. There are 5 6 questions, and the results will only come to you. It is not going to come to me, so be true to yourself. Good evening, Neelam ma'am. Okay, so have you received, has everybody received the link, even the panelist? If someone can just unmute and tell me.
Yes, sir, it
Yes,
is
sir.
there.
Okay, okay. So it will probably take 2 to 3 minutes to for you to take the test, and you will get the results on your email id. Okay, thank you, Roli Didi. Good afternoon, Aditi. Good afternoon, Megha. Megha, I saw your spot talks that you had shared on the SDG. They are brilliant. Very, the children are speaking very well. Good afternoon, Baishali. Jai Hind, Abhilasha ji. Shreya ma'am, Archana ma'am, if you can use okay. So maybe Munmun ma'am, if you can tell me, is my voice audible?
Yes, sir, you are. I think you paused, so they thought that you were still speaking.
Okay, okay, okay. Yeah. So we've got about 100 people right now. We'll wait for another 2 minutes and then start. Has someone received their mindset test? Just give me a yes in the chat box if you've received your mindset test on your email. The results of your mindset test on your email. Here again, so for all the people who joined in just now, this is a link to your mindset test. Go to this, take the test. It's a 5 to 6 questions. Answer very, very openly, because these answers are just restricted to you, and fill in your email, and you will get to know what sort of a mindset that you have. I'm sure there's been so much conversation about growth and fixed mindset. All of us have been wanting to figure out what sort of a mindset we have. And I wanted to do that as well. So that's why I went out and searched the internet, and I found this out. It helped me know what sort of a mindset I have. Okay, great, Kajal ma'am. So the others, please go to this website link that I've shared. It will take 5 minutes, and after that, we'll start the session today. Go to this website link, take the test, fill in your email, and you will get the results. Now, once you have the results, then the session today will tell you how to inculcate, how to take it further from there. Thank you, Jayashree. So once I start receiving yeses in the chat box, that's when today's session will start. So if you have received your feedback from the mindset test that I've pasted, then start putting a yes in the chat box. Okay. Thank you, Kanchan ma'am. Thank you. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. So I think a lot of people have start they have started receiving the test. Okay. But we still have just about 100 people on the webinar. Pankaj ji, if you can check, is there any restriction? Okay, now we have 100.
No, sir, 162 are there.
Okay, great. Yeah, there was a lag at my end. All right. So today's session promises to be a great one, and it's about the session is about growth mindset and fixed mindset, a topic which is really buzzing throughout the education space in India and across the world right now. This is a direct implication of the Bookflix group that was made by Gautam sir, and so the two educators today, alongside Mukesh sir, they're going to talk about growth mindset and fixed mindset. And this again, I'm reiterating, it's directly from the Bookflix. So if you like today's session, and you have the time to spare, you should join in to the Bookflix. And if at any point of time, it's not a compulsory attendance. At any point of time you wish to join the Bookflix, you can reach out to Kakuli ma'am at Varanasi. She is the primary wing coordinator at Varanasi. You can reach out to her at any point of time you wish to join the Bookflix. Kakuli ma'am, in the chat box, if you can put your email, that will help everybody reach out to you as well. So quickly, I'll pass on to Mukesh sir for today's presentation.
Jai Hind, good evening. It's a pleasure to be a part of this CC Friday once again. Before I introduce the two colleagues of mine who are going to take you through the why and how of cultivating or imbibing a growth mindset, I thought we would look at briefly my understanding of what a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset is. May I request the screen share to begin, please? While the screen is being shared, I would request each one of you to think of answers to this question. Please listen to the question very carefully. The question is, why did the young girl jump off the windowsill of her high-rise apartment? I repeat, why did the young girl jump off the windowsill of her high-rise apartment? If somebody can very quickly put in your answers in the chat box, Munmun will read the first 5 responses, and then we can take it up for discussion. Okay, she couldn't handle failure. She was frustrated. Frustration, fire broke out, Sangeeta Bhattacharya says, due to an unstable mind, failure to save the bird, says Bharti. Overexcited, Varsha Thakur. Because she wanted to fly like a bird.
Yes,
Okay.
Pratik sir wrote to fly.
Okay, great. Now, you see such wonderful responses, and a majority of responses demonstrate a fixed mindset. Because we always look at jumping off a windowsill of a high-rise apartment as though it is an outcome of a depression, or you want to, go to perhaps the other world. But if you look at it from the growth mindset, you will say that, yes, she wanted to fly. No harm in somebody wanting to fly and taking a chance at flying. Also, if you look at it, the window has 2 openings. One is outside and one is inside. It's perhaps she was jumping off, getting into the arms of her father. I can imagine Siddharth sir playing this little game with his daughter now. So this is perhaps the key to a growth and a fixed mindset. Our fixed mindset is because of a certain typology that we have in our brain, a certain process where we have been trained to think like that. So the idea to move from fixed to growth is changing the way we think, changing the way we look at certain sets. That is why it's called a mindset. And remember, a mindset is not set in stone, but a mindset is always set in water, and we can always make the changes. In the next slide, we will share with you 12 statements. We would request you to categorize all the 12 statements into 2 categories, depending on what you look at it. I'm not going to define the categories, but in the Padlet that Dhananjay has just shared, you would like to categorize them. The 12 statements, please. That's right. Yeah, we can see the Padlet now. Wonderful. I think most of us are on the right track in categorizing them. Fine. So I think we'll get back from the Padlet to the presentation, and we will share with you the answers in the next slide. Well, I can't do this. This is too hard. It's not going to work it'll never get better anyway, I give up. If you look at all these statements, they're all in the negative. And again, I would like to share a little incident that happened in my life when I was a young father.
So sorry if I may interrupt just for a second. There are more people who've joined recently, I think about 2030. If you can just
Mhm.
make a quick recap and then do this, I think.
Okay. We are here to discuss the difference between growth and fixed mindset. And we started off with a very beautiful question, which was, as a young girl, why did the young girl jump off the windowsill of her high-rise apartment? Most of us gave in answers which were very fixed, which related it to either suicide or frustration or depression, or perhaps a very simple mundane activity like going down to the next floor. Whereas we had a few of them who said that the girl wanted to fly. And somebody said, yes, she wanted to save herself. Maybe the house was on fire. And therefore, the fire tender was outside and somebody was saying, jump into my arms. For me personally, when I was confronted with this question, I thought it resonated with a little game that I played with my daughter, which I'm sure Siddharth sir has played or will now play with his young girl, where she would stand on the windowsill and jump off into my arms. So this is how we look at growth and fixed mindset. Then we were asked to share these 12 questions and put them into two categories. Most of them have done it on the Padlet, and we are now moving out from there. We're showing you the answers to the two categories. So we could go to that slide. Now, when you look at these statements under the fixed mindset, you will see there is can't, there is too hard, not working, it'll never happen, I give up. Now, as a young father, again, my experience has been, whenever my son would say talk when we were having a meeting at home, and if I would tell him, don't talk, don't talk, don't talk, he would still continue talking. And a little reflection, and I realized, and of course, after a little reading of child psychology much later, we got to know that our mind does not understand negatives. So when I tell you, don't do this, your mind interprets that and processes it as do this. And that's the reason why children keep doing what they are asked not to do. So then I used to change these things in class. As a teacher also, I had issues of class management. And there were children who would talk all the way. And I would tell them, listen, instead of talking now, can we talk after I finish what I have to say? Or after I talk, I will give you a chance. And that was the simplest way of my classroom management. I never had to bang the duster or yell at my top of my voice and say, keep quiet. So perhaps the mind doesn't understand anything negative, and that's the reason why, we shouldn't be doing negative things or making negative statements about children or criticizing them in a negative way. There is criticism which can be very positive. This afternoon, I was telling, one of my colleagues in the school that my father always used to tell me, of course, that was in a different context of learning how to be diplomatic, because I have the habit of, hitting hard on the head. So he would simply say, कि बेटा अंधे को अंधा मत कहो, धीरे से पूछो कहाँ खोए नैन. That's how perhaps, a growth mindset can be cultivated. Can we move to the next slide? Okay. So what is mindset? Our beliefs, our thinking, and the way we look at things and situations. For instance, if you looked at the response to the first question, most of the responses believed that, yes, this girl was frustrated. We had a very fixed kind of a thinking, and we looked at a situation as a negative one. So this is exactly what mindset in brief is. I'm sure by now, I think we've all understood what the mindset is. We could move on further. Right. I love this little statement, box from the internet, and I would leave you to read it very quickly. And in case you have any questions on any one of these, we'll be very happy to answer them either at the end or immediately if Somehow, on the we have set doses of quality. There is a ceiling on our achievement. Is all related to somehow what Howard Gardner talked about in his multiple intelligences when he was propounding the theory. We all have a belief that our intelligence is limited in different spheres. I'm not talking about the IQ, but I'm talking about much of the other intelligences. But Howard Gardner has, propounded his theory very beautifully, that if we are able to provide the right environment to, that particular intelligence at different stages in life, then I'm sure that intelligence will grow. It doesn't have to be that, yes, I can't sing, or maybe I'm not good at music. Not necessarily you may have a voice, but you may have a lesson, a ear for music. As again, my music teacher would always say, Tansen banne ke pehle kansen bano. So, there is no limitation to human potential. And in the book, Carol Dweck has so many anecdotes of different people who have been able to go the extra mile, move beyond their mindset, and achieve what they have. Nick is one of them, one of those very, very famous examples. If you Google Nick today, you will see a very beautiful video of how this little man who doesn't have adequate organs of the body has been functioning, and perhaps at one point of time he was the highest grossing motivational speaker in America. So these are the basic statements that would, outline the difference between a mindset and a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. We could move to the definition now. Oh, it's okay. Before that, we would have again a very quick reflection. A Padlet link will be shared again. And what I would like you to do is on the two walls there, or on the two categories again, just put down a mistake that perhaps you have made either recently or that you have done earlier, and how that has helped you learn in the next column. So oops, and this is what I have learned from this little oops moment. So very quickly, you may go back to the Padlet. And I would appreciate if the ones who joined recently, to get to the Padlet first, so that you get a chance to participate, since you didn't get the chance to do it in the first one. Thank you. Okay. Oh, that's very nice. I think we all label our children, so often. I mean, more often our biological children than the other ones. In the classroom and for other children, there is a lot of child psychology that we practice. But when it comes to our own kids, I think, our concern overpowers all that wonderful teaching qualities that we have. Kashi Vishwanath, I suddenly, okay. One of my was talking to a hearing impaired child. Okay, I like what Millie has written.
Dhananjay, if you can take Vibhuti ma'am's chat, she's not able to connect on the Padlet.
Vibhuti, you can type in the chat box in case we'll read it out for you. Okay, that's a very beautiful oops moment. In your previous school, you were talking to a child who had a hearing impairment. Very nice. I'm so glad, many of them have been able to share their mistakes. Seems like we have over these 6 to 8 months developed a very risk-free learning environment where we don't hesitate, to talk about our own mistakes in a public platform like that. So much for, I think, the positives of COVID-19. And you will see how provision of risk-free environment to the children is perhaps the first step to, creating a growth mindset or inculcating this quality in them, as Dhananjay and Munmun will show you a little later. Fine. I think we could wind up now. Since the Padlet can be shared with all of us later, we'll have enough time to go through them. If we could stop the Padlet share now and get back to our main presentation, we'll try and end on time, because I think my colleagues have a lot to say, and I have the habit of, waxing eloquent whenever I get a chance. So let's get to the definition now. Right. The definition, a belief that your basic qualities are things you can cultivate through efforts, your strategies, and help from others. Although people may differ in every way, everyone can change. Everyone can change and grow through application and experience. When I read this definition in the book, I somehow was taken back to, I think, my 6th standard, when Mrs. Susan Phillip in the EVS, or we didn't have EVS in those, but in the science class, was talking to us about germination. She said that here is a seed which is, if it remains a seed, it will be perhaps soaked in water, cooked and steamed, and you will consume it, and the seed will not grow. But if the seed is soaked in water, left for a while with a little bit of heat, and an environment is provided, it will germinate and grow. Now, definitely a germinated seed has more value than a seed which is non-germinated. Apart from that, she also moved to say that if this germinated seed is sown immediately, it would grow into a plant faster and perhaps even give at a later date more seeds. So this is how she explained to us how, we should perhaps think about our own potential. So somehow, I thought that growth mindset and fixed mindset is a concept of philosophy, is as old as the hills. But, we have Uncle Sam's descendants who are very good at, presenting old wine, not only in a new bottle, but in a very, very fancy bottle, and marketing it with even more fancier strategies. So this is what I thought, Carol Dweck perhaps has done. She's taken up something that was very old, which we have all been thinking in different ways, and given it a name and a place and an identity, and of course shared with us for the benefit of all of us. I think with these definition and explanations, I will now invite both this young girl and young boy from my team to take you through the why and how of inculcating a mindset. The reason, I'll just take a minute before I get them on board. The reason why these two have been chosen is somehow linked to what we do in school. One of our core values is manage with facts, manage and mentor with facts. Now, Munmun, over the last 3 years of my interaction with her, has demonstrated a growth mindset so beautifully. I can go on quoting so many incidents, but I thought the very fact that she was willing to move from the junior wing coordinator to the middle wing coordinator 9 months ago was an adequate demonstration of her growth mindset. She's been in the school for donkey's years now, and she joined and she remained a junior wing coordinator. If this growth mindset had not come to her, she would perhaps have retired as a junior wing coordinator. So kudos to you, Munmun, for demonstrating this growth mindset. Dhananjay moved from the confines of, a classroom where he was teaching science and physics and mathematical concepts to 40 young students to conducting a seminar for over 200 principals at the Sahodaya conference a year ago. And that is where I thought, Dhananjay, you crossed the threshold from growth, from mindset affixed to growth. So thank you. Both of you have demonstrated this adequately. And I think you're the right people to tell us about what and how of the growth mindset. Over to you, Munmun.
Thank you so much, sir. I simply don't have anything to say further. You've already told that I have started inculcating a growth mindset, but it is just the beginning, and that was just one example of a growth mindset maybe. But yes, you know the other thing where I decided to take this up also, because you know how difficult it is for me. So I will before taking it further, I will definitely show a picture. Okay, I think I'm sharing that. Okay, and a very good evening to everyone. And before I start, can you just remember the story the picture is trying to tell us, or the picture is trying to give it's actually talking about the story. Which story is it from? Any ideas? You can use the chat box. I know it's a very, very famous story and most of you know about it, and that is why it has been chosen to be here on this slide. Great. So I've got the answers. Everybody, all those who are writing it correctly. It's Pied Piper of Hamelin. Thank you, and that's great. Okay.
Munmun, sorry
Yes,
to interrupt you. I couldn't control myself. I saw the first response as bagpiper. So I thought that person really has a growth mindset.
Okay, so I think I missed that, because as soon as I opened the chat box, it was all Pied Piper. Yes. Okay, great. So yes, definitely this is the picture from the Pied Piper of Hamelin, and we all know the story. It was about this Pied Piper who was invited to Hamelin to drive away the rats, and as promised, he played his pipe, and with the music he took away all the rats. But he was actually promised a handsome amount after doing this, and once he had already done the task, he was not given that amount. So he became really very angry, and what he did next was that he took the children of the town, and he started playing his music, and the children automatically they followed him, and they went inside a cave. But the story doesn't end here. We all know that there was one boy who was left behind. Now, can you all just use the chat box and tell me the reason you feel this boy was left behind? Why was this boy left behind? Please feel free to use the chat box. I know you all must be knowing the answer, but in case you can help me out. Okay, great. I've got an answer. He was deaf. Great. Yes. To tell the story to others. Wonderful. Yes. You can even guess why was he left behind. He was lame. He was deaf. Yes. Didn't like the music. Wonderful, Mona Lisa ma'am. Yes, maybe. Physically challenged. He did not follow the crowd. Yes, definitely a wonderful way of looking at it. Okay. Something else. He did not want to follow. Yes. Special need. Yes. Because he was mindseted. Okay. He was separated from the crowd. Great. Yes. We all almost know that he was a differently abled child, and that is why he was left behind, because this Pied Piper was not capable of taking somebody who needed help, who needed support, because he was just a Pied Piper. And with his enchanting music, what he did, he took away all the children who could actually follow him, who were enchanted by the music, and they followed him automatically. He did not actually bothered about this one child who was left behind, because he actually needed help. Now, if we talk about us, the educators, we talk about us, the teachers, we are somebody who is actually endowed with the capacity to take even the slowest, the weakest, and definitely the differently challenged ones. Such is the power of a teacher. And this can only happen provided we believe in ourselves. We believe, yes, we can do it. And once we have this growth mindset, only then we'll be able to percolate it down. Thank you so much for giving me such wonderful responses. Actually, this has helped me proceed. So I'll quickly go to the actual thing, why growth mindset is required for teachers. And after this discussion, I think most of us have understood that why growth mindset is required for teachers. The most effective teacher, what do we want? We want our children to succeed, to believe in themselves, and motivate them to keep trying, try till you achieve your goal. So teachers are the ones who are affecting eternity. They are the ones who are looked up to. We are role models, and children have implicit faith in us. Let me just quote an example. We are doing development discussion in Varanasi. So yesterday, a parent, she was interacting after the child had finished talking about his development plans. So this parent was talking, and to one of the teachers, I would definitely quote the subject, a math teacher, and the parent just said that, ma'am, इसको बोलिए ये जरा मेरे से समझ लिया करे, अगर उसको कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा है तो मेरे से जरा समझ लिया करे, मैं भी बीएचयू में पढ़ाती हूँ, मैं प्रोफेसर हूँ, बट ये तुरंत कह देता है कि नहीं नहीं आप मेरी मैम की तरह नहीं समझा पाते, मैं मैम से समझ लूंगा, एंड देन ही विल आइदर व्हाट्सएप यू या फोन कॉल कर देंगे. So we had to actually tell the child, no, your mama is actually, she can tell you, she can solve your queries. We are there for you, but still you can ask your mama and you can definitely sort out your queries. The child immediately said, नहीं मम्मा आपकी तरह नहीं समझा सकती ना मैम, इसीलिए. The teacher had responded and the child said, मम्मा आपकी तरह नहीं समझा सकती. So like we all were, actually these examples are a regular example in most of our classes. Children believe us so much. And definitely when they believe us so much, they imitate us all the more. They imbibe, they try to actually take in whatever we are giving them, knowingly or unknowingly. So we will have to be very, very careful that what we are projecting, what we are displaying is what they are learning. So we can actually get our students to read, we can inspire them, even if it is subjects like history, we are the ones who make it interesting. And that is why growth mindset is very, very important for all of us, especially for the educators, because we are affecting eternity. And that is why I feel growth mindset, if once we inculcate it, it is going to definitely percolate down. So now a lot of why is done. So let me take you to how can teachers show a growth mindset. Now, this is one question which needs to be answered definitely. How can a teacher show growth mindset and how can that help the child? Yes, the first and foremost thing is believing in all our students. Yes, believing in all our students is very, very important, because the way they believe us, if we don't put all our faith in them, then it is not going to help. So irrespective of what the child is capable of, whether the child is able to do this or that, we need to believe in them. And believing them not only gives them that push to do better, but also the assurance, don't worry beta, we are there to support you. We are there and we will support you. And don't be afraid. Give it a try. You will surely succeed. All this makes the child believe that, yes, I can do it. My teacher says that. And then therefore, I'll definitely do it. So believing is very, very important. The second is valuing struggle and failure. Nothing can happen without struggling. Nothing can happen without actually trying for it. So this is something we need to understand. We already know that, and we need to acknowledge that. And we should also keep an eye on those who sometimes they give us an impression that they are struggling with a particular topic, they are struggling with a particular content, but actually it might also be some way that they are unaware of their own potential, or like they are likely to have a fixed mindset that I can't do it. They've been told several times that you can't do it, or you again doing it wrong. You see your sister, you see your brother, how well he is doing, and you are not able to do that. So maybe that child has already got into a fixed mindset that I can't do it. Everybody says I can't do it, so I can't do it. So here we will have to tell them, no, your struggle is of importance. If you are struggling now, but you are trying, definitely you're going to succeed. So we have to take them out of this fixed mindset. And it can be due to the parental pressures also. It can be a comparison that I already just quoted, that it can be a comparison of siblings or the other ways. So here we have to tell them, see, I know that you are capable. I know how capable you are and how well you can do it. And it doesn't matter if you are not able to do it for the first time. You might have not taken the right way. You still have time. You can actually take in some other strategy, some other way. I'll help you out, and you can modify it. And definitely we can actually liberate that child. We can show him the path to success, and take not only the brighter ones, the smarter ones. We can also take the weaker ones, the slower ones, those who actually need our help. And that can only happen if we give them positive messages and set a high expectation level for them. We need not set low expectation level because this child is not able to do. Let the expectation set high, so that the child understands, okay, the teacher expects me to be here and she believes that I can reach there, then why not give it a try? And even if I give it a try, she's going to suggest, even if I don't actually come out successful, she's going to help me out. So once the child understands that my struggle, my failure is going to be valued by the teacher, she's going to understand me, she's going to help me out, definitely that child will have immense faith in you and will definitely give it a try. The next and the most important is praising. This is something that we every day we are practicing it, and it's our favorite. We keep praising children for the little deeds they do, and definitely help is also something that we render. But while praising the child, now here we'll have to be mindful. What are we praising? Are we praising the child, or are we praising the inborn talents or the capacities that are there? Are we making the child feel that you're born with it? So here we'll have to just be mindful and check our words before we are passing it on to the child. By just saying that you're a genius, oh my God, you're so intelligent, we give the child a feeling that, oh my God, I'm born with it, so I should try to maintain it. I should not do something which will bring me down. The child feels I have already made that image in front of the others. So if I do something which I can't do as well as the other one, I will become an average. So here the burden is there on the child. The child starts avoiding to take something that he feels that he can't do. He avoids taking risks. He avoids taking challenges. And just to keep proving that he's a genius, he will opt for easier things that he already knows. He will not go for something new. He will avoid learning something different because he feels, okay, I have been proven an intelligent and a genius child in this topic or a subject or some games, anything. So let me just fix to it because everybody knows that I'm very good at it. So here, if we praise them in a different manner, they avoid failures, they avoid taking risks. So we have to be very, very mindful when we are praising them. And in case they fail, they are already, start thinking themselves to be geniuses or intelligent, they avoid taking anything which is challenging. And if they fail, if they take a challenge and they fail, they are really disheartened, and then that is the final stop. They will not try it again. So that is where we will have to be really mindful, and we need to be very, very selective how and what we are praising the child for. And before praising, we just have to be mindfully thinking it, Are we praising it in the right way? I'll just quote a few examples. Just saying the child, wow, you're so smart. Instead of that, we can just say it in a different way. It's great that you've learned it. Instead of saying, wow, you're so intelligent, you solved all the 100 questions, we can say, wow, I love the way you're thinking about this problem. So this way the child will get an understanding, okay, if I try and if I work hard, definitely I'm going to succeed. It is not that something I'm born, I have been born with it, but I can acquire those skills. And also when we are talking negative to the child, suppose the child did not do it, we can't just say, you can't do this, or you have again just done it wrong, why did you do it wrong? Instead of that, we can quickly say, I think you haven't learned the strategies yet, but you can do it. If you try this way, I think you will be able to solve this. So in such when you're talking about when you talk about the child and praise him or her in this manner, the child understand that the praise is for the hard work. The praise is not for me, but my hard work, my attempts, my tries. So the child understands, okay, I have to keep trying, I have to be consistent, and definitely I can acquire any skills. So in this way, if we believe in our students, we value their struggle and failure and praise them in the right manner, along with the help that we are providing, I think we will be able to cater most of the children of our class. Definitely. And set an example. The child will also understand, okay, my teacher believes me, she values my struggles and failure, she praises me for the right thing. Great. So I can definitely, I'm capable of doing anything, and I'm capable of acquiring any kind of skill. So we need to help them become resilient, try out new tasks, do not hesitate in making efforts, and let them be consistent in everything that they are doing. Let them acquire things by hard work and dedication. And of course, this is what is growth mindset that we are talking about. So that brings me to the end of my part here. But before I say goodbye, I would definitely once again request all of you to read this book by Mindset by Carol Dweck. It's simply worth reading. It is definitely going to change the way we look at things. At least it did for me. Definitely. And I believe that it will definitely change the way we think about things, we look at things. And so thank you so much for listening to me so patiently. I would now like to invite Dhananjay sir, who's going to discuss about the importance of growth mindset in our students. And we all know that is the ultimate motive of all the educators. So over to you, Dhananjay sir, and thank you everybody.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And good evening to everyone. Next slide, ma'am. Okay. Why is growth mindset important for the students? The growth mindset is important for the students because we are ultimately telling the child that your talent and your intelligence are the things which you can cultivate with time. When I say cultivate with time, I mean to say you require three things to grow them: your effort, your strategy, means your short term and your long term goals, and third is your help from the teachers, the parents, and the internet. So the growth mindset tells the child that your talent and the intelligence are the things which grow with time. You need to give proper time to it. Next slide, ma'am. Okay. Importance of growth mindset. It tells you that success and failures are part of life. When I say success and failure in this particular statement, I mean to say that we are not taking the long-term success and failures of life. We are taking very small success and failures at the school. Suppose a child is not able to solve a question, it comes under the short-term learning disability, and then we will convert it, we will help the child out, and it will be converted to success. You can cultivate good qualities with time. As I earlier said, suppose we can give the child an example that this person was previously not good at speaking ability, but later with practice he was able to develop. The third is very important for us as well as the teachers as well as the students. For students, it tells them that speed is not important. Before I explain further, I'll emphasize that speed is not important का मतलब ये है that we in our class should not appreciate speed. अगर हम खुद अपने क्लास में स्पीड को अप्रिशिएट कर रहे हैं तो हम बच्चे को ये नहीं बोल सकते that speed is not important. We need to tell कि speed is not important, but the process and the learning outcome is important. The fourth one is it also gives the feeling to the child that he is a developing person. Next slide, ma'am. Okay. How can we inculcate growth mindset? There are multiple methods which we do, but these are the 5 major things which today I'm going to talk about. By creating a risk-free environment, by building resilience, by mentoring and role playing, by setting goals for progress, and by providing mentors and the models. So risk-free environment is a situation in which we are creating a learning environment where we will tell the child that we are not here to judge you. We are not here to evaluate you. We are here and we are only concerned about your learning. No problem if you are stuck at a problem. We are going to combinedly effort for it and we will solve that problem. Under the greatest advantage of risk-free environment is that once the child feel कि ये अपने दोस्तों जैसी situation है classroom की, the child will share everything with the teacher in the school. और अगर घर पे भी उसको ऐसा ही माहौल मिल रहा होगा कि वो रिस्क फ्री इन्वायरमेंट है तो वहां भी पेरेंट को सारी गलती अच्छाई वो शेयर करेगा. So we need to be very specific about creation of risk-free environment. Okay. In this particular slide, I only want to convey that we respect the mistake of the child. Suppose a child is not able to solve a question and he attempted it in a different way. So we should politely ask कि बाबू तुमको ऐसा क्यों लगता है कि this is the right step. So उस टाइम वो जब बताएगा तो actually he is doing logical and reasoning, तब आपको पता चलेगा कि गलती कहाँ हो रही है. And ultimately our aim is to develop that failure is the first attempt in learning. We can also, to justify that failure is first attempt in learning, we can also tell about the famous people who failed first in their life and then they bounced back. For example, Thomas Edison. ऐसा कहते हैं कि Thomas Edison failed 100 times. But जो लोग उनको ये कहते थे कि आप 100 times fail हुए, that was the category of the fixed mindset. जब उनसे खुद को बोला गया कि लोग ऐसा बोल रहे हैं कि आप 100 times fail हो गए, he replied कि in my views for that particular innovation 100 steps were the required steps. So this is the real difference between the growth and the fixed mindset. Okay, mentoring and role playing. This stage is very important for the teachers. If what we say in the classroom and what we do is different, then it will develop the feeling of dissatisfaction and loss of faith. I'll tell you an example. Suppose मैं बच्चे को बोलता हूँ कि कल सवेरे मैं आऊँगा and I'll check the second exercise. And immediately I went to the class and I was checking, I started the third exercise on the board. So इसमें कोई दो राय नहीं है कि मेरा जो बच्चे हैं मेरा नाम गजनी रख दें, वो बोलें कि नहीं ये टीचर तो शॉर्ट टर्म मेमोरी लॉस के हैं. I'll tell you one more example. अगर हम बच्चे को बार बार कहते हैं कि नहीं आप क्लासरूम में डस्टबिन का यूज करिए और क्लासरूम में एंटर करते टाइम हम अपने टीचर्स टेबल को ध्यान नहीं देते हैं, तो जब हम रिसर्च के बाद जाएंगे तो वही सेम टीचर टेबल डाइनिंग टेबल बन जाएगा, उसका भी हमें ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा. So what we do and what we say to the student should synchronize, otherwise they will get a feeling of dissatisfaction. Okay, let's watch a video on resilience and then I'll explain it to you what resilience is. What is the definition of resilience?
does it look like?
It looks like me.
That's right. I want you to do everything that you can to knock your toy down. Who is the strongest in class? Jeron, come on up, please. I'm going to give Jeron a prop, and he's going to try to knock it off the table. Ready, Jeron? Okay, children, who can tell me what it means to have resilience? Yes, Paige?
Resilience means if you make the toy fall down, it'll come back up very, very fast.
Very nice.
Okay, so I believe that you got the meaning of resilience. If we'll talk of dictionary meaning of it, it is the capacity of a person to bounce back from tough times of life. It is preferably of three types: the emotional, physical, and the community resilience. I'll tell you an example of community resilience because आजकल ये आपको न्यूज़पेपर्स में दिख जाएगा. आपने दिल्ली कम्युनल राइट्स के बारे में देखा होगा न्यूज़पेपर्स में. Although the Delhi government at the government of India is trying to make the Northeast Delhi better, but still जो ज़्यादा बदलाव आया है Northeast Delhi में, it is because of the community. The entire people of the community combine and they try to fix a shop, a road. So this comes under the community resilience. So overall, the definition is it is the capacity of a person to bounce back from the tough situations of life. Next slide, ma'am. Okay. This stage is very important. Goal setting is very important. What we do in the classroom is we try to have a long-term goal in our classroom. But you will be amazed to know that the experts in the education field, they feel that goal for each child is different. I mean to say, for one child, it can be to read the question and to write the formula which is needed to solve that question. For one child, it can be the entire exercise. For one child, it can be the entire book. So goal setting is very important. I'll let you know that how we should use this goal setting. You might have seen the students who are good in some quality and they lag at some end. For example, we are assuming a situation in which a child is having a very good handwriting, right? So we should use this under the goal setting. We should tell the child कि बाबू तुम्हारी जो handwriting है वो बड़ी अच्छी है, but I want you to work on your spelling as well. और इसका यूज मैं अपने क्लास पे खुद भी करता हूँ. जब बच्चे बोलते हैं सर फिजिक्स नहीं आ रहा है, then I used to tell them कि you learn these 8 diagrams based on concave and convex mirror. You come back and then we will move to the next part. So we need to tell them that the short-term goals are very important for the child to achieve and to reach to the long-term goals. Next slide, ma'am. Okay. In our school, we interact with students multiple times. We talk to the students in homeroom period. We talk to students in quality circle time. And we also interact with them individually. कभी-कभी ऐसा होता है that they used to share with us their dreams. For example, एक बच्चा बोलता है कि Sir, I want to become a doctor. So now the role of the teacher comes up. I will tell you few prototype questions जो कि टीचर को उस टाइम पे पूछने चाहिए, but condition applied कि we need to ask very politely. ऐसा ना लगे कि हम बच्चे का मजाक उड़ा रहे हैं. ऐसा लगना चाहिए that we do have faith that you are able to complete your dream. जैसे मान लीजिए कि कोई बच्चा बोलता है that sir I want to become a doctor. So I should ask a question, what quality the doctor is having and you don't have yet. Other question can be, what exam do you think that you need to clear to become a doctor? So our question is very important. Before I wind up, I will be sharing 4 links with you because we are working to develop a growth mindset action plan. जैसे मैंने बात करी कि questions भी आपको बताए थे, I will be sharing with you 15 prototype questions and we are working to have more questions. This is from the internet. You check it out, and if you have any further questions, you can write to us and we will also include those questions in our action plan. So thank you so much. And now I would request sir to please watch the further proceedings.
I think Dhananjay sir, I think sir is not able to hear us, so I'll take it further. Now we just have a beautiful TED talk, and we thought of sharing it with you. Siddharth, do we have that time? Because it is our 7-minute video, but it is really impactful. It's a beautiful video. It's a TED talk on why the teacher requires a growth mindset, and that is what we wanted to share just at the end.
Let's do that. No problem.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So I'll just share this video with all of you. You need to listen to this talk, and definitely it is cherry on the icing.
I have spent my entire life either at the schoolhouse, on the way to the schoolhouse, or talking about what happens in the schoolhouse. Both my parents were educators. My maternal grandparents were educators. And for the past 40 years, I've done the same thing. And so needless to say, over those years, I've had a chance to look at education reform from a lot of perspectives. Some of those reforms have been good, some of them have been not so good. And we know why kids drop out. We know why kids don't learn. It's either poverty, low attendance, negative peer influences. We know why. But one of the things that we never discuss, or we rarely discuss, is the value and importance of human connection. Relationships. James Comer says that no significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. George Washington Carver says all learning is understanding relationships. Everyone in this room has been affected by a teacher or an adult. For years, I have watched people teach. I have looked at the best and I've looked at some of the worst. A colleague said to me one time, they don't pay me to like the kids. They pay me to teach a lesson. The kids should learn it. I should teach it. They should learn it. Case closed. Well, I said to her, you know, kids don't learn from people they don't like. She said, that's just a bunch of hooey. And I said to her, well, your year is going to be long and arduous, dear. Needless to say, it was. Some people think that you can either have it in you to build a relationship or you don't. I think Stephen Covey had the right idea. He said you ought to just throw in a few simple things, like seeking first to understand as opposed to being understood. Simple things like apologizing. You ever thought about that? Tell a kid you're sorry, they're in shock. I taught a lesson once on ratios. I'm not real good with math, but I was working on it. And I got back and looked at that teacher edition. I taught the whole lesson wrong. So I came back to class the next day and I said, look, guys, I need to apologize. I taught the whole lesson wrong. I'm so sorry. They said, that's okay, Miss Pearson. You were so excited. We just let you go. I I have had classes that were so low, so academically deficient that I cried. I wondered, how am I going to take this group in 9 months from where they are to where they need to be? And it was difficult. It was awfully hard. How do I raise the self-esteem of a child and his academic achievement at the same time? One year I came up with a bright idea. I told all my students, you were chosen to be in my class. Because I am the best teacher and you are the best students, they put us all together so we could show everybody else how to do it. One of the students said, really? I said, really? We have to show the other classes how to do it. So when we walk down the hall, people will notice us. So you can't make noise, you just have to strut. And I gave him a saying to say, I am somebody. I was somebody when I came. I'll be a better somebody when I leave. I am powerful and I am strong. I deserve the education that I get here. I have things to do, people to impress, and places to go. And they said, yeah. You say it long enough, it starts to be a part of you. And so, I gave a quiz, 20 questions. Student missed 18. I put a +2 on this paper and a big smiley face. He said, Miss Pearson, is this an F? I said, yes. He said, then why'd you put a smiley face? I said, because you on the roll. You got 2 right, you didn't miss them all. I said, and when we review this, won't you do better? He said, yes, ma'am, I can do better. You see, -18 sucks all the life out of you. +2 said, I ain't all bad. For years, I watched my mother take the time at recess to review, go on home visits in the afternoon, buy combs and brushes and peanut butter and crackers to put in her desk drawer for kids that needed to eat, and a washcloth and some soap for the kids who didn't smell so good. See, it's hard to teach kids who stink. And kids can be cruel. And so she kept those things in her desk, and years later, after she retired, I watched some of those same kids come through and say to her, you know, Miss Walker, you made a difference in my life. You made it work for me. You made me feel like I was somebody when I knew at the bottom I wasn't. And I want you to just see what I've become. And when my mama died 2 years ago at 92, there were so many former students at her funeral. It brought tears to my eyes, not because she was gone, but because she left a legacy of relationships that could never disappear. Can we stand to have more relationships? Absolutely. Will you like all your children? Of course not. And you know your toughest kids are never absent. Never. You won't like them all, and the tough ones show up for a reason. It's the connection, it's the relationships. And while you won't like them all, the key is they can never, ever know it. So teachers become great actors and great actresses, and we come to work when we don't feel like it, and we listen to policy that doesn't make sense, and we teach anyway. We teach anyway because that's what we do. Teaching and learning should bring joy. How powerful would our world be if we had kids who were not afraid to take risks, who were not afraid to think, and who had a champion? Every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be. Is this job tough? You betcha. Oh God, you betcha. But it is not impossible. We can do this. We're educators. We're born to make a difference. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. So thank you, Munmun ma'am. Thank you, Dhananjay. I think it was a brilliant presentation. and I'm sure everybody will be delighted to have this realization of developing the growth mindset. I'm going to take another 10 to 15 minutes. So whoever's presenting, if you can please take this down. I'm going to take another 10 to 15 minutes of your time. So in the chat box, just give me a yes if you think we can go ahead for another 15 minutes. If you think you have something really urgent, I will not stop you. You can absolutely go ahead and exit the webinar right now. Since this is a really important topic, I want to extend this by another 10 minutes. So firstly, Munmun ma'am, Dhananjay ji, I think the neuron design was brilliant. I think I really enjoyed and related to the neuron design in the PPT. It was really nice. Some of the responses to the oops moment that Sir had shared in the Padlet were really great. It was I was delighted. It was delightful to see that we are finally sharing our mistakes in the open, right? So it's really important that we start sharing our mistakes, and we were sharing our mistakes in the open in the Padlet, and it was a really heartful thing to see, because over the last 6 to 7 months, we've been talking about celebrating mistakes, but for the first time, I was able to see that we're actually sharing them. If you noticed in the TED video as well, that the lady was talking about, she was over and over talking about the mistakes she made. So the learning from the mistakes that we make is so important, and that is what is going to take us further in life. Like Dhananjay put in his slide, the acronym for FAIL, first attempt in learning. I also really enjoyed, Dhananjay, how you talked about, how you explained the risk-free environment with the concept of friendship, and that sort of an environment needed in the classroom to be a positive learning environment. Loved your explanation of through the concept of Gajni, and I think that was brilliant. I can absolutely say that there are many bigger places for you to go, and I hope you don't forget me once you go to those places. So there are
Thank
some
you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
There are some great Q&A questions which I'm going to take up. So any of the panelists, Munmun ma'am, if you, Dhananjay ji, Mukesh sir, any of you can go out and answer them. One question that is there, that there are times, even after several attempts, students can't cope up with the class. Then how to deal with this situation? As said, we need time for the process of learning, but how much time should we give?
Right. I have sent the answer to the person in the chat box. However, for the benefit of all, I would put it up here. You see, unfortunately, we have learning capsulated within time frames. And that's the reason why our mindset goes up to say how much time we need to give. But I think within the same time, if we re-strategize, if we understand, like the banks understand, know the customer, I have always told the facilitators, you must have know your child concept. So understand the learning style of the child, the learning pattern of the child, his thought process, his home background. You will need to go into a deeper study of the child. Once you study that and you have the data, you will be able to process it into a strategy, which will be a workable one. Now, when you have the data, in case you are unable to work on a strategy yourself, I think the best thing would be to collaborate with your colleagues, either who are experienced or who are fresh. Therefore, you will get both. A set of experienced teachers will give you certain ideas, and maybe you will get a fresh idea from somebody who is. So the thought process needs to move from how much time into what I can do to help this child within the time frame we have.
Great. Thank you, sir. Any points from Munmun or Dhananjay? Any points? Anything you would like to add here?
So just I want to share the growth mindset action plan with the teachers. If they have any idea related to it, they can let me know, or they can write to us, because we are working on it.
Yeah, go ahead. And to add to what Sir said, I think it's really, really important that with these children, जिसके साथ आप बहुत सारे attempts कर रहे हैं और वो फिर भी बच्चे नहीं कर रहे हैं, like the lady said in the TED talk, and like we've been doing in the past, the relationship that you build with these students is the key to addressing these students. It's really important to have a solid relationship, because once you have a solid relationship, you know what the child needs, right? So I think that's really, really important. There was another great question. So how to set growing mindset in talented students? So whoever asked this question, I'm going to share a small picture after this question. And if we do praise, जिस तरीके से हम बच्चों को प्रेज करते हैं, अगर हम उसको सही से प्रेज करें और सही वर्ड्स को यूज करें, सो हम डेफिनेटली टैलेंटेड बच्चों को भी ये नहीं बताएंगे कि तुम बहुत टैलेंटेड हो. तुम अच्छा इसलिए कर रहे हो क्योंकि तुम एफर्ट डाल रहे हो. ये डिफरेंस है टैलेंटेड होने में और ज्यादा एफर्ट डालने में. ये दोनों में बहुत डिफरेंस है, राइट? So I'm going to share the ways of doing praise correctly, which will help you get over this problem. Now, there are two more questions which I'm going to ask. Shreyas Pathak asked how to motivate parents for growth mindset, as sometimes they become very critical of their own children. It's due to the burden of expectations they have from their children, as we teachers sometimes fail to follow it when it's associated with our own children. Anyone would like to take it up?
So could you repeat the question?
How to motivate parents for growth mindset, as sometimes they become very critical of their own children.
Right. So I think there are two ways to look at it. One is you get the parent to touch base with his or her own childhood and see how they went through an expectation that was higher than what they could achieve. So when you touch base with their past, they perhaps will be able to zoom into the future of their children and perhaps reduce, since again it's a mindset of the children, of the parent, it can't be done in just one conversation. It'll have to be a process. And therefore, instead of dealing with just an individual parent, if as a school, at every developmental discussion or at every, let's say, moment when the principal or the teachers or the coordinators have a time to share with the parents, we need to have a parenting program now on this. And as part of this parenting, if we can tell them that, listen, every child is different, your own 5 fingers are different. These are the ways that we have been kind of looking at things. The other thing is we tell them that, listen, is this really what you want? When it comes to the expectation of fulfilling of the expectation of the child versus the stress under which the child is. So between that, we need to get the parent to make the choice. And I'm sure over time, the parent will understand. Yeah, they will come back with you, lekin bas stress ki duniya hai, usko cope karna padega, things of this sort. So at that point of time, my answer to all the parents is always this, that listen, you are a successful parent. The child has your DNA and the gene, and therefore at the right moment, as Kabir very beautifully said, "Dheere dheere sincho mana, dheere dheere sab hoy, mali sinchat so ghada, rita aaye phal hoy." So there will be a season when your child will bloom. Maybe at this time it's taking a little time to bloom, but don't, I think, interfere with the natural process. We all know this beautiful passage from Zorba the Greek, where this young person who was traveling through the forest, he was able to look at a pupa a butterfly emerging from the pupa and struggling to emerge. And so what he did, he said, let me help it by giving it some warmth. And he breathes onto the pupa. And unfortunately, when, of course, the butterfly emerges a little faster than it would have taken a normal time, it falls dead in his palm. And then he realizes that this is the sin, the biggest sin that I have made, that I have tried to interfere with a natural process. However, it's difficult for a parent to understand that, because he has peer pressures, the child has peer pressures, the parent has a family pressure, the parent has his own pressure कि भाई मैं इतना अच्छा था तो मेरा बच्चा ऐसा क्यों नहीं हो सकता है. So all these are the psychological issues that parents deal with, and we need to deal with them individually and patiently, and of course through a proactive approach of parenting on how to deal with children. And the best way to do it is through case studies. We share case studies with the parents and say that this is what has happened. The best way to look at it is look at a lot of failures, children who have failed in life, as to why they have failed. And somewhere you will see that perhaps they have been dealt with either by people with a fixed mindset, or they themselves have had a fixed mindset. So once we are able to share with that, I'm sure gradually the parents will realize. But as I said, it's easy to answer the question, but it's a little difficult to do it. In the 25 years of my principalship, I would say I have had a very little success rate in convincing parents. And therefore, at every meeting, I always tell them, बच्चों को तो हम सुधार सकते हैं, आपको हम क्या करें?
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Shreyas, I would also say that there are two questions that you're asking here. One is how to motivate parents to develop growth mindset. I think like all of us teachers are developing growth mindset, I'm sure the parents would love to do that as well. So similar workshops for the parents will definitely help. And then you've got another question within your question where you've talked about high expectations, and I'm going to give you a clue right now that whether high expectations are good or bad. Okay. There's another question from Shravanji: how to prepare students to face the challenges of time-bound competitive examinations. To answer that question, Shravanji, there can be various answers, but I think one of the things, looking at the growth, it's not a growth mindset or a fixed mindset question, although you can use growth mindset to train the children. If they put in more effort, definitely they will be more better in the answering the examinations. But I think as a teacher, we should also try and remove the fear for these examinations from children. I think that should be the real answer that we should be looking at. Pankaj, if you can now share that image I had shared with you. Yeah, so आप लोग सब लोग क्लास लेते हैं, आप लोग सब लोग प्रेज करते हैं और बच्चों को फीडबैक देते हैं. So all of us praise and give feedback. These are a few things that you should say while giving feedback. So here, let's take one example. What do? We say, you are so smart. We should not say this, because when you say this, it makes them think of intelligent as a fixed quality. I think Munmun also said this. So बच्चे intelligence को binary में सोचते हैं, या तो हम intelligent हैं या नहीं हैं, right? बट अगर आप ये उसके बदले ये बोलते हैं कि आई कैन सी यू वर्क सो हार्ड ऑन दिस, आप उसके एफर्ट को प्रेज करते हैं, तब वो इंटेलिजेंस को एक कंटिन्यूअम में देखते हैं. हम इस कंटिन्यूअम में कहीं ना कहीं रिलाई करते हैं डिपेंडिंग ऑन द एफर्ट. इट हेल्प्स द चाइल्ड अंडरस्टैंड दैट यू वैल्यू एफर्ट, राइट? सो आप जो भी प्रेज करें और बच्चों को फीडबैक दें, not on the goal but on the effort. आपका हर एक फीडबैक एफर्ट के ऊपर होना चाहिए. तो आप इसके बारे में अगर माइंडफुल रहेंगे तो आप अगली बार जब भी बच्चों से बात करेंगे, your sense of mindfulness will come and tell you that you have to talk on effort. And since all of us now understand what is a growth mindset, I'm not going to talk more. I'm only going to type in a word in the chat box, and maybe it will be a nice exercise for everybody to go out and search about it. It's called the Pygmalion effect. So what does high expectations have on children? Just go and search about this Pygmalion effect. And I think that this will give you the answer whether we should have high expectations or we should not have high expectations. I think it was a great session. Thank you, Mukesh sir. Thank you, Munmun ma'am, Dhananjay ji. Thank you, Pankaj ji, for taking us through the PPTs. And thank you everybody for asking questions with for the first time with so much free flow. Okay, there's one more question which I'll take up. How to protect child's self-esteem if a child is getting continuous negative remarks? I think only a teacher can do that. We've got to stop giving negative remarks like everybody said. We've got to use more and more positive reinforcement. All right. On that note, we'll end today's session. Thank you, everybody, for being so patient and staying on for the last 20 extra minutes. Thank you.